When Clara first saw him, he was just a dog sitting in front of the old library ruins, Ash clinging to his fur, eyes steady and quiet. But then she noticed what was beneath his paw, a key, blackened by fire but still whole. And when she picked it up, she realized that library wasn't as empty as everyone thought, and neither was her family's story. Welcome to Saved by Tales. Before we begin this powerful tale of lost stories and quiet loyalty, tell me in the comments, what's the last book or story that truly stayed with you long after you finished it? And if you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, hit that subscribe button, like and share. There were two kinds of silence in Clara's village. The good kind, like sitting under the oak tree in summer, where the wind hummed through the leaves, and the bad kind, the kind that wrapped around the old library ruins like a blanket no one wanted to touch. Everyone called it the Ash House, even though it hadn't been a house at all, just a small brick library, burned down before Clara was born. No one talked about it, no one went near it, except for the dog. Every evening, Clara passed by the library on her way home from school. She would glance toward the blackened bricks, the crumbling steps overgrown with weeds, and there he was, a large German shepherd, gray-black fur streaked with ash, amber eyes calm, always in the same place, sitting right in front of what used to be the front door. No collar, no leash, just waiting. Clara was 8 years old, the kind of girl who didn't ask too many questions out loud, but kept plenty inside. She lived with her father above the village's tailor shop. Her mother, well, no one really spoke about that either, but Clara didn't mind being quiet. Quiet was safer. One Thursday afternoon, with the sky pale and heavy with clouds, Clara stopped. She set her school bag down on the curb and watched the dog longer than usual. He wasn't digging or sniffing like the other strays. He just sat, perfectly still, like a statue carved from shadow. After a minute, Clara took a deep breath and stepped closer. Her sneakers crunched softly over gravel. The dog's ears twitched, but he didn't move, didn't growl, didn't run. When she was only a few feet away, Clara knelt. She wasn't sure why. Something about the dog's eyes made her want to kneel, like he was bigger than her somehow, not just in size, but in weight, like he carried things she couldn't see. That's when she noticed, beneath his paw, something small, half covered in ash, a key, blackened, old, but unmistakably a key. Her heart skipped. Slowly, Clara reached out. Her fingers brushed against the metal, cold, rough-edged, and as she lifted it, the dog's paw moved away, deliberate, like he was letting her have it. Clara turned the key over in her hand. There were faint letters carved into the side, CWL. Her breath caught, because she knew those initials, Clara Wren Leland, her mother's full name. That night, Clara didn't tell her father. Instead, she sat on her bedroom floor, holding the key in both hands, her heart thudding like a clock too fast. Her mother's name. Why was her mother's key at the burned library? And why had the dog been waiting for her to find it? The next morning, Clara couldn't concentrate at school. The key stayed hidden in the small pocket of her coat, wrapped tightly in tissue paper. Every time she slipped her hand into her pocket, her fingers brushed the cold metal. And every time, her heart gave a little jolt. By the end of the day, she'd made up her mind. She had to go back. After school, she told her father she was staying at the library. The new one, 2 streets over, not the ruins. That was her first real lie. But it didn't feel like a lie. It felt like something necessary. The village square was quiet as she walked past it, her sneakers scraping on the cobblestones. And as always, the dog was there, sitting in the same spot, waiting. This time, Clara didn't hesitate. She knelt beside him again. Her hands trembled as she pulled the key from her pocket and showed it to him. "I know it's important," she whispered. "I just don't know where it goes." The dog's ears twitched. Then slowly he stood, turned toward the ruins, and stepped inside. Clara followed. Ash crunched beneath her feet. The burned library smelled like dust and rain and old wood. The walls still stood, mostly blackened bricks and broken beams, but the roof had caved in long ago. And in the center of the floor, half hidden beneath collapsed shelves, there was a trapdoor. Metal hinges rusted, handle half buried in ash. Clara knelt, brushing the debris away. Her fingers wrapped around the handle and pulled. It didn't move. Locked, of course, but now with the key in her hand, her pulse quickened. She slipped it into the lock. It fit. The key turned with a click that echoed through the empty space. The trapdoor creaked open. Below was a small set of steps leading into a basement room untouched by fire. Dark, cold, but safe. Clara looked at the dog. He stood at the top of the steps, calm, waiting again, like he knew what she would find. With her flashlight in hand, Clara stepped down into the basement. The air smelled different down there, older, thicker, and at the far end of the room, lit by her small beam of light, a wooden box, old, charred around the edges but intact. Clara knelt in front of it, heart pounding in her ears. She brushed ash from the lid and lifted it open. Inside she found a notebook, a silver pen, and an envelope. Her mother's name was written across the front. The box felt heavier than it looked. Clara carried it carefully up the basement steps, brushing ash from her sleeves as she went. The dog waited at the top, his amber eyes steady, tail resting in the dust. Back in the open air, Clara knelt beside the steps and opened the notebook first. The pages inside were smudged, but the handwriting was clear, her mother's. She recognized the neat slant of the letters, the way certain words looped, taller than others. If someone finds this, my name is Clara Wren Leland. I hid this here because I had to. The fire wasn't an accident, and there are things people in this village don't want remembered. Clara's fingers tightened around the edge of the notebook. The fire had been deliberate. Her heart pounded harder. She turned the next page. More writing. Pages and pages of it. Names, notes, even small drawings, maps of the library, lists of books marked in red ink, and at the very back, a single sentence underlined twice. The truth is in the ashes. Clara sat back on her heels, her breath catching in her throat. She wasn't sure what it all meant yet, but she knew one thing. Her mother hadn't just disappeared. She'd been trying to protect something hidden in the ruins. Clara opened the envelope next. Inside was a photograph, faded and bent, but still clear. Her mother, much younger, standing beside the same dog, Echo. Only he looked younger too. Darker fur, no gray at all. Her mother's handwriting was on the back of the photo. For Clara, if I can't tell you in person, let Echo show you. Tears stung the corners of Clara's eyes. Echo wasn't just a stray. He'd been her mother's dog, waiting all this time, for her. That night, Clara couldn't sleep. She sat in her bedroom with the box open on her lap, the photograph and notebook spread out before her. Her father came in quietly around midnight, standing in the doorway. I thought you were asleep, he said softly. Clara looked up, voice shaking. Why didn't you ever tell me about Mom? Her father's face changed. Slowly, he stepped inside and sat beside her. I didn't know how, he admitted. After she disappeared, I didn't want to make it harder for you. She didn't just leave, Clara whispered, holding up the notebook. She was trying to protect something. Her father stared at the pages, his jaw tightening. And for the first time in years, he nodded. The next morning, Clara and her father returned to the library ruins together. For the first time, Clara wasn't alone. And neither was Echo. The dog stood waiting beside the crumbled doorway, as if nothing had changed. But Clara could feel it now, something final in the way he sat, like a chapter about to close. Clara's father knelt beside the trapdoor she had opened the night before. Together they carried the box back into the light. They took it to the police station. They showed them the notebook, the lists, the photograph. And for the first time in years, someone listened. The officer promised to review the documents, said there had been rumors for decades about how the fire really started. That maybe her mother had been trying to expose something about the village council, things long forgotten now. That afternoon the mayor gathered everyone in the square. For the first time since the fire, the village faced the truth. People cried, some apologized, some just stood silently, hats in their hands. And through it all, Echo sat by Clara's side, still and steady. By sunset, Clara knelt in front of the plaque they placed beside the old library ruins, in memory of Clara Wren Lal, for the stories left unfinished, and Echo, the dog who waited. That night, as the sky turned purple and gold, Echo lay beside the old oak tree outside the tailor shop. Clara sat with him, one hand resting on his fur. His breathing was slow now, but peaceful, like he'd finally done what he'd come to do. Her father sat on the steps nearby, watching them both, quiet, respectful, no words needed. As the stars came out, Clara leaned down and whispered against Echo's ear, "You can rest now." And for the first time since she'd met him, Echo closed his eyes and didn't wake up again. The village never forgot him, or her mother, or the library, because some stories don't end when the last page turns. Some stories live on in the people and dogs brave enough to keep waiting until someone's ready to listen.